Hello guys, my name is Alex and welcome back for AOR, this time for the 7th round in Canada. And currently you can see the driver's table. We are in P4, we managed to gain a position after a decent result in Monaco. And yeah, we try obviously to improve on that in this round. I did quite a bit of training and my pace seemed to be really strong here. I found quite a good setup and yeah, let's see what we can do. Straight into qualifying, and quite early on I noticed there was something different about the handling, and that was basically at the beginning of the session my force feedback got really light and steering felt really strange, and I had to get used to it as quick as possible, and I think it took me basically the whole qualifying to really get used to it, and even in the race I had a lot of problems with it, as you'll see later. But yeah, my normal pace around here was really strong. I think I can do a 107.0 or 106.9 with a really good lap, which is not too bad with the race setup. And the race itself, or the speed in the race itself, was looking quite good as well. But so far you can see the lap is not ideal. I think it was the first lap I did in the qualifying, but unfortunately I really wasn't able to improve on that because I did quite a lot of mistakes due to misjudgments in turning, and most of the time I turn in a bit too early because there was no real force against when I'm turning, and yeah, that cost me quite a lot. As you'll see later this in the session, we managed the first sector quite a bit better compared to last lap, although it was not really great. And here you can see one of the examples. I just turned in too late in the first apex and too early in the second one, and my lap got invalidated, which is really unfortunate. And as you can see, we are now currently in P11, which is really not ideal because track position is also quite important. And yeah, it might take quite a good race to get into decent points, but as always we try our best. And here you can see the strategy. It's the first time I really decided to start on the harder compound, and I wasn't really sure if it would work because it's quite a risk, and we have to see how it goes. We have 5 red lights, it's lights out and away we go. And to be honest, in this race I was really aggressive, and I try to make moves stick wherever I can. And already we are on the outside against Alberto, and we brake late, a bit too late, and we went over the grass, or we go over the grass, which loses us the position, and we have to defend from Tim behind us, which we managed to do. And at least we have no damage, no contact, or no accident so far, which is not too bad, or really good. And here you can see we already got a warning, which is a thing you really want to avoid when you want to have a good race, but it was simply just too difficult for me with the force feedback, and I always turned in a bit too early, and in the next corner I turned in too late because I feared to turn in too early, if that makes sense. And yeah, it was quite tricky, but I knew a lot of people would get penalties as we brake a bit late. There was a slight bit of contact between the Toro Rosso and Alberto, and we managed to go around the outside and make our first position stick up into P12 now. And at the moment it's looking not too bad. The cars ahead are fighting quite a lot, which means that our strategy gets better and better in every lap. And that was also what I was hoping for, that the cars ahead start to battle a lot as we get another warning for turning in too late and then too early. And yeah, we have to be really careful now in order not to make our life much more tricky, as the first cars go into the pits, and as I said that we got a 3-second penalty from hitting the wall, and I really had to be patient here because that penalty made my life so much more difficult, and we have to see how it affects the race. And in terms of the race, the cars ahead are fighting quite a lot, and unfortunately we can't get really close enough in order to make some kind of impression on them. We are looking a bit for the inside, but yeah, it's just not enough, and we have to stay behind, and especially in those laps we should be a lot quicker because yeah, actually their tires should be very worn, especially after this lap. And yeah, on the straight it's difficult to get closer when the car ahead does have DRS and slipstream, so we have to be patient and wait on some kind of mistake, which was part of the plan in this race. The other plan was to drive aggressive, and if there's some kind of move or chance we will go for it, and it seems that they are losing quite a bit of time here, and we might have a chance to get really close to them. You can see we get the slipstream get closer, and it's getting really close, and this time I decided to back off because it's much smarter, or yeah, it's much better to wait and get a better line. And now you can see we're just going on the inside, braking really late, and get the position or make the position stick up into P8 now. And now it's about driving as fast as possible in clean air, which at the moment I thought it wasn't really possible because the other cars get an undercut, but then I saw on the minimap that a lot of people were fighting in a huge train, so I knew when I keep my head down, or if I keep my head down over probably 7 or 8 laps, then I might get an overcut, and when I rejoin on fresh tires I might get past. But yeah, we have to see how it goes. There are a lot of mights, and reality can be different, so we have to see how it goes. We are going into the pits really cautious because we don't want to get any kind of penalty, and we rejoin in P10, and next to us is Alex on the supers, and we should be able to get very close to him on the next straight, especially because our tires are much quicker and we are braking late, and we try to make a move onto this next straight, and in order to do that we need a good exit out of here, which we managed to do. We have the DRS, the slipstream, we are going to the outside and use the overspeed, brake late, and we were able to make the move stick up into P9, so already into the points. Next up is Uresi, and he's really nice to us and lets us go, which was really cool from him, and it helps us quite a bit because now we can attack the cars ahead who are fighting basically the whole race. People like Dominic and Flores, who really gave everything in this fight, as you will see. And in lap 24 we were able to catch them, and out of this train is Flores, I think, and behind is Dominic or Ollie, and then Dominic, and they are fighting quite a lot, so we have to be really careful because yeah, if there's some kind of collision on this track, it's a huge collision, and we don't really want to have some kind of damage or contact. But on the other hand, we have to get past because we are on the faster strategy, and we have a huge opportunity to get a good result here, and it means that we have to wait on an opportunity or create one, and that's probably one of my strengths. On the one hand, to be patient as we get another warning, for turning in too early. And yeah, on the one hand patience, but on the other hand finding the right spot as we get another warning. And I think especially in those laps, Dominic and Ollie start to fight quite a bit, and you can see uh, Ollie had quite a compromised run out of the chicane, and we are braking really late. Stay around the outside, he doesn't give us much room, but a slight bit and we take it. And our better traction and good straight line speed should see us through into P6. And we are braking late and make the move stick. And next up are Flores and Dominic. And let's see, are we able to get closer? Not really as it seems, but Dominic gets closer and closer to Flores, which is also not too bad for us. And yeah, it's quite difficult to make an impression on the car ahead if everyone has slipstream, so we might think about a move on the inside. We are really close and Dominic tries to avoid it, which gets us nearly past as we have a slight bit of damage, not damage, contact, and unfortunately we are not able to make the move stick. We try to go side by side, but Flores is ahead and blocks our way, so which means that we have to slow down in order not to hit them, and you can see both are really close to each other, which means that we might have a chance if we take a different line, and we do so, stay around the outside, but there's a car on the track as Torosso who blocks us, which is really unfortunate. I think I had a good chance there to overtake him, so we have to find a different place to get past. And saying that they are again really close, and I think Dominic might try a move on Flores as he squeezes him into the wall, which is really aggressive, and they are going side by side, which allows us to close up quite a bit as Flores cuts the chicane, and we are now really close, and you can see they are again side by side, so we decide to take a really wide line in the entry to get a different line on the exit, and you can see we are now really close to both of them. And as I said, I was quite aggressive in this race and we are not letting this slip. We are side by side and we have the DRS. Dominic doesn't have the DRS. We have the inside brake really late and make the position stick. And Flores is now behind us. He cut the chicane in order not to hit us, which was very fair from him, and that means after all this battling we are now in P4 and we are not done yet. We have quite a bit of racing to do, and cutting on to lap 33 we were able to close the gap to the cars ahead. Our pace was absolutely rapid at this point and we were closing more and more with every following lap. And let's see what the cars ahead do. I think it's Michael and Jarno who are fighting, and again this should help us because fighting cars, especially in Canada, you can lose a lot of time due to the chicanes and it's difficult to make a move without really losing time, as you could see earlier in this race. It was the reason why the overcut worked so good, and we are now really close to Jarno ahead. And are we able to get close enough? I don't think so. So we just decide to put our energy back down, and maybe Jarno is able to close the gap to Michael and overtake him, and we might have a chance on both of them, just like we did on Dominic and Flores. And you can see he got a really good run out of the chicane and he goes for the inside and makes the move stick. We decide to take a different line to into the first few corners just to be very close to Michael ahead, and if we stay close in this next few corners we might have a chance to overtake him on to the next straight, but in order to do so we need a good run out of the next chicane. And let's see, are we able to get it? It seems that it's quite a good one, and we are now really close to Michael, nearly side by side, and We are braking now late, go for the inside, and Michael doesn't defend it too much. Maybe he knew about our penalty situation, and yeah, was probably better for him to just wait, because I think he didn't have a penalty so far. So yeah, we're up into P3 now, and next up is Jarno ahead. So let's see, are we able to get him as well? We close him down by quite a bit, and we are braking late and get quite a good run out of the chicane, and we are now much closer. And we are now side by side onto the straight, brake really late into the first corner, and at the end we were able to make the move stick. And ahead is Epic, and I think it might be tricky to catch him in this final lap, but as always we try our best, and we have to get a gap to the cars behind, because I can tell you now I had 9 seconds worth of penalties just due to the strange behavior in the turning, and it's quite painful to have that in Canada, where you have a lot of opportunities to get a warning due to a lot of chicanes on the track. And you can see we closed the gap quite a bit in these last few corners, and yeah, let's see how much points we'll get at the end. Hopefully we can still finish decent after this chaotic race, and we are crossing the line now. It says that we are P1, P2, P3, and at the end it's P4, which I'm quite happy about considering what happened in quali and our starting position. And unfortunately I don't have the driver's table for this round, but I will have it in future videos hopefully. And I can say that, or I can tell you that we are currently in P3, which is not too bad. And that was the race. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope to see you in the next one as well. Goodbye.